in
All right.
5, 4, 3, 2.
From Illinois Valley Central High School, Clutch Sports Media is live tonight in the Spook House. It's the Gray Ghosts of IVC hosting the Sages of Monticello. Good evening, everybody. Alongside Evan Johnson, I'm Larry Larson. And Evan, tonight we've got an intriguing matchup in the Illini Prairie Conference, a Monticello program that is always very strong, and really just a stacked IVC squad coming in at 2-1.
You're absolutely right, Larry. I'm really excited to be on the call with you tonight, first of all, so thanks for having me. You know, this is going to be a really interesting matchup. A lot of, people that are equal at each position as far as, physicality, as far as, stature. It's going to be really interesting to see how these players handle their matchups. I think that's going to be a big part of tonight. How can you handle your man?
It's going to be interesting to watch, and especially for the Monticello Sages. They've got a lot on their hands looking at this IVC roster, talented up and down. Mac Parmalee, Cam Wallard, Holt Geltmaker, just to name a few. And that's not even as far as they go, Evan. They're very deep.
You're absolutely right. And, we talked about before the game, keys for each team. And like you said, this IVC team is so deep. So for Monticello, you have to, make sure that you are locking down each of those key scores for IVC, or else this game could get out of hand very easily. So definitely a key for Monticello.
Monticello comes in with a 2-0 record, coming off a win at Olympia on Tuesday. We'll get to more of that later. IVC coming off a win at Tolono Unity, 59-43 to open Illini Prairie Conference play. And Evan, looking at the standings in this conference, these two teams are usually up near the top. The Illini Prairie Conference formed just a few years ago, so these two teams have only played each other 3 times. And it's been interesting to see kind of the story arc of that, because the first 2 matchups, Monticello blew them out, but last year, IVC turned the tables.
And, like you said, these teams always are at the top of the conference. Winning's a tradition. And, when your school, when your program can make winning a tradition, that's not a bad habit, that's for sure. So, the history is interesting. It'll be interesting to see if we can make this all-time record even.
Yes.
for the Sages. It's a big game, It's high school basketball, but teams that are so even, teams that know each other, definitely want to even the score.
Yeah, no state series this year in IHSA basketball, but there's still bragging rights to play for, especially in conference play. So these conference rivals always want to get the best of each other. Evan, let's take a look at some players to watch. We mentioned the IVC roster. What's a name that jumps out at you?
I think the name that we have to go with is Mac Parmalee. We saw him over at Metamora. He dropped 30 points and some crazy highlights. You can see those on our Twitter or Instagram. The kid has some swagger. The kid plays with a lot of confidence. That makes a good leader. It's someone you want to rally behind. He has a lot of personality. Someone we definitely enjoy watching over here at Clutch Sports Media.
Yeah, he is a lot of fun to watch. Dropped 30 points in his IVC debut on ClutchSportsIL.com. And Evan, who you got your eyes on for the Sages?
We were looking at Dylan Ginelick for the Sages. Your first choice might be Ben Cressup, which I'm not going to discredit him. He had a really good outing against Olympia, 17 points. But you know what? It looks like Ginelick can not only light up the scoreboard, but he can grab a lot of rebounds in there. He's only 6 feet, but he's averaging around 8 rebounds a game this season so far. So, I'm looking to see what he can do on the inside and from around the perimeter.
Looks like we're about set for our starting lineup introductions, but first, we'll get to our national anthem. So we'll pause, let you listen to the PA announcer, and we will be right back with your starting lineups and game action on ClutchSportsIL.com.
Please be supportive of the efforts of both teams as everyone enjoys the game. Illinois Valley Central High School thanks you for your support and cooperation. At this time, please rise and remove your hats for the playing of our national anthem.
Welcome back to Illini Prairie Conference Basketball on ClutchSportsIL.com. Larry Larson and Evan Johnson in with you on this Friday evening. Thank you so much for spending it with us here on CSM. Let's get you your starting lineups for tonight's contest. First for the visiting Monticello Sages. They enter this one at 2-0. They're coached by Kevin Roy in his 15th season for the Sages. First at the top of the starting lineup, it's Ben Chrisip, a 5'9", 160-pound junior guard, the leading scorer for these IVC Gray Ghosts. As the lights go out here, we'll turn on our flashlights to get the rest of the starting lineup to you. Jake Edmondson also starts at guard. He stands at 6 foot. Dylan Ginelick, also at 6 foot, will start in the backcourt. Thomas Swartz at 5'8". He's a junior guard. He also starts for the Sages. And to round it out, starting his first game of the season, it's Joey Sprinkle, a junior who has varsity experience from last season. And for the IVC Gray Ghosts being introduced on your screen right now, as you see Mac Parmalee, the first player introduced. He's the first player in our starting lineup, the 6'3" senior guard, first transferred from Richwoods, then transferred from Dunlap here at IVC. One of the leading scorers on this squad. Logan Mercer, the 6'4" senior guard forward, also gets the starting nod. Cam Wallard in the front court for Quinn Morrow's squad. He stands at 6'5". He's also a senior. Holt Geltmaker just introduced, as you hear on the PA system. He stands at 6'2". He's a great all-around athlete, headed to Illinois to play baseball. And to round it out, number 40, Brandon Ward. Evan, a lot of talent on both these starting lineups.
Yes, sir. Definitely going to be an exciting matchup. As I said in the pregame show, it'll be interesting to see how Mac Parmalee comes out, see if he can start out hot, and see if Geltmaker can maybe put some points on the board as well. See those two prolific scorers for the Gray Ghosts. See what they can do.
No tip-offs in the IHSA this year, so an inbounds pass gets us underway. Thanks for joining us in the Spook House on your Friday night. Monticello starts with it. Gillenick looks inside, bounce pass backwards to Cressip. Now he gets it right back. Sages looking to strike first. Kicked back out. Edmondson alongside the perimeter. Scans the floor. Bounce pass to Gillenick, and it's tipped away, and will stay with the Sages.
The Gray Ghosts in almost like a half-court 2-on-2. It's a very interesting zone.
One thing I was talking with Monticello's broadcasters before the game, they said they've struggled in the half-court defense, but, Monticello has, as they can't get the layup and the tip-ins to go, but they somehow get the basketball back. A third look on this possession. They go back down low. Edmondson spins once again off the mark, and now the Gray Ghosts will have the opportunity to strike first. It's Mac Parmalee, Euro stepping through the lane for two.
And he is a shifty scorer. We saw that in Metamore, like I said, and no shortage of that tonight, I don't think.
Made that Euro step look easy, weaving through the defense. How does Ben Chrisip and company respond? Dylan Ginelick over to the right wing to Edmondson. Scans the floor, back to Gillenick. Chrisip into the corner for Edmondson. A patient offense for Monticello so far. Not what we're expecting to see out of them all night long. They're a small team, so they're going to like to run the floor, Evan. You're
absolutely right. You need to run the floor so you can get inside. Don't let the defense set up. You need those shots.
Edmondson open for three, goes halfway down and out.
He'd probably like to see that fall here early in the game so he can get high. You don't want to start out cold.
Woolard with it between the rings, passes back to Parmalee, and he's going to run the show. To the left wing to Geltmaker, into the corner for Mercer. Here we see a slower IVC offense as well. In my conversation with head coach Quinn Morrow before the game, he told me that they've settled into their offense a little more. He said they're shooting for good possessions, not quick possessions.
We've I'll touch on this in a previous broadcast. The high school game doesn't have a shot clock. You know, you watch so much college basketball, you kind of forget that it's not the norm. So
yes.
These offenses can really, like you said, settle in, look for good shots. Because when you're forcing bad shots, it's not good.
Foul on Sprinkle. Ball inbounded back for IVC, and Geltmaker's with it. Feeds Woolard into the post. Pretty hook shot is well too short. And now Monticello can run in transition. Gillinick nearly has it tipped away. Back up top to Sprinkle. Now reverse to the left wing. Open three for Gillinick off the iron. Geltmaker in transition to the right block. Nearly spun over the side of the rim. A lot of English on that layup, but instead he's fouled.
Sorry, he missed that, but that was an athletic play. Shades of Mac Parmalee with that little Euro step there.
A lot of similar athletes on this team. No foul there, just the ball tipped out of bounds. IVC gets it back. Geltmaker looking for Woolard in the post. He's double teamed, swims through it. Another hook shot is once again short. Rips away his own board though. Second, got it to go, and the foul.
That is a grown man's move, Larry. Go up strong, get the foul, and hopefully you can convert on these free throws here.
IVC scores the first 4 points of the ball game, and Woolard can make it 5. The UW Whitewater football commit knocks down the free throw.
And if you're Monticello, you really need to see a shot go in right now. IVC out to an 0-5 start.
Monticello still patient. They're going to move the ball well. A well-coached team under Kevin Roy. As we mentioned earlier, in his 15th season, has 270 wins to his name. Cressip tried the jump pass, tipped around, and a foul is called. Ball's going to go with the Gray Ghosts.
And like you said, Monticello could really benefit from a faster-paced offense here. IVC's got some big boys, stout, but they've got a lot of strength on the inside. So Monticello really needs to kind of, like you said, push the pace, as you said before the game.
They've taken 2 very slow possessions, Evan. That's a little surprising. Mercer to the left wing to Ward. Now Woolard drives, Euro step in the paint, count the bucket, and the foul again.
That's unbelievable. That's a great move. That's a great jab step, first step, get inside, put up the shot, and, he's to the line again.
Looked pure at his first appearance at the stripe. And now we will take a mask timeout. It's the officials' timeout, a new rule in the IHSA this year. And we take this break to remind you that tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Country Financial. At Country Financial, we know protecting the things you love and preparing for tomorrow starts with simple steps. Get started with your neighborhood representative, Cam Parr, by calling 309-274-8813. Cam Parr, your local Country Financial representative. We thank him for his support tonight of Clutch Sports Media and his consistent support of IVC Athletics.
And speaking of IVC Athletics, this is our first time being in this gym. And, to a fan base that's so loyal to the Clutch Sports Media company, we couldn't be more excited to be here.
Yes, it's always fun to see the social interaction we get online with the Gray Ghosts, the Boo Crew student section account, the players. They're big fans, and we certainly appreciate it. We couldn't do it without the support of not only local businesses, but local fans, the athletic directors. Takes a lot of people to make it possible, including our staff behind the scenes, Matt Harrington and John Michael on the crew tonight. John Michael behind the tripod. Larry Larson in with Evan Johnson here in the booth. Out of the mask timeout, Woolard headed to the stripe once more. Can make it an 8-0 run to start the game for IVC, and he cannot. Regardless, 2 impressive buckets to start his night. We'll see how Monticello can respond. They haven't been able to do anything so far. Sprinkle up top to Edmondson. Wide open Cressip, short. IVC hauls in the board, Evan.
We said they want to be fast, but that wasn't a bad shot, though.
No,
it's
it wasn't.
A wide open shot.
Parmalee off balance. No good off the glass. Rebound Monticello. This is where they want to be quick. They pass ahead. Rudolph to the bucket. And Gillinick gets it to go. And Monticello is finally on the board.
And what do you know? 2 transition points.
That's how they're going to get them tonight. 3 on the other end from Rainey. Can't make it rain quite yet. Monticello can put together their own run. Cressup would have had an open 3. Fumbled the pass. Here's an open Edmondson. Drives baseline, reverse. He got it.
What a pretty layup. You can't let your man get baseline.
Now we've got a ball game once again. Mac Parmalee walks it up for the Gray Ghosts. Geltmaker between the circles. Woolard inside the fadeaway, gets the nice bounce off the front of the rim. Peyton Feldman on the board. Monticello in transition, stuffed by Feldman. The lob was off the mark to Geltmaker, and Monticello recovers. We'll see if they can capitalize off the mistake. Cressup is fouled in the paint.
You know, within the last minute, we've seen a big change of pace from Monticello. They're going with that transition offense that they said before the game that they want to rock with. And as you can see, 4 quick points for them, and now they're at the line, could make it 6.
Cressup, the leading scorer for this Sages squad. He knocks in the first free throw. Entering this one, he's averaged 19 points in 2 games, Evan. And his last time out, he scored 20.
That's an impressive showing. You know, he's a great leader. Obviously, can score consistently. I mean, over 2 games, but he's putting up good numbers. So
one of only a few players on this Monticello squad that played IVC last year. Monticello lost 6 seniors from last year's squad that went 19-12. IVC turns it over, and excuse me, it's going to stay on this end.
And, you know, meanwhile, IVC has 8 seniors on this squad. So, you know, Monticello's losing a lot of experience, but they've got a lot of stuff to look forward to. Meanwhile, IVC has the upper hand in experience.
This is a team you feel bad for because there's no state series. As Geltmaker goes to the rack, his shot is off the mark. Geltmaker still not on the board tonight, but we'll certainly see him on the scoreboard at some point. Monticello sets it up. Cressup nearly gets it ripped away. Gillenick thought about the 3. Fox into the corner for Sprinkle. Back to Gillenick. IVC's defense making Monticello work as the 3 opens up for Gillenick, and he knocks it in. He's up to 5 early on. Minute and a half left in this first quarter. Waller's going to go to work. The big fella's got a lot of power in that dribble. Lobs cross court. Geltmaker double teamed. Finds the open man. 3 on the way, not even close. Hauled in by Gillenick. He runs the fast break. And 2 for Gillenick. He's got 7.
Little Tony Parker floater action there on the transition. Looking good for the Sages.
And all of a sudden, the Sages have the lead.
You know, it's a quick turnaround, but, you know, like we said, all those points that are coming in transition. Granted, pardon me. Granted, Gillenick knocking down that 3 in the half-court set, but, you know, this Monticello team looks great in transition. And as you can see, it's paying off for them when they can get out to run.
It is, and you see the huddle, Kevin Roy firing up the troops as IVC took the timeout there. Quinn Morrow probably frustrated with his team's play early on. In case you're just joining us, the Gray Ghosts got out to a hot start, starting the game with an 8-0 run. And since, the Sages have responded, roaring back, and they now hold the 2-point lead. IVC basketball out of the timeout. Geltmaker runs the point, guarded by Gillenick. He's immediately double teamed. Monticello doing a good job, and Geltmaker tosses it away. Not necessarily his fault, but it bounced off the hands of Brooks.
They used that the sideline as a third defender, really put the pressure on Geltmaker, and he turned the ball over.
Now Monticello will have the opportunity to hold for the final shot of the first quarter, if they please. Evan, if you're Kevin Roy, what's your instructions to your team here? Do you hold or shoot it quick?
You know, in my opinion, you hold because you don't want to give the other team an opportunity to score. It's a pretty generic answer, but I think it's the right answer.
Monticello with all the momentum right now. They are going to hold. Edmondson and Crescent playing catch. 10 seconds now. Crescent stares into the IVC zone. 6 seconds. Swung to Fox. Lob down low, and a foul's called. Edmondson was right there. Quite the play there.
That's a dangerous play. You know, he's lucky nobody got hurt, but, you know, it's a good look. It's a great pass, and results in some free throws for Monticello. I was not expecting the lob. I'll say that. I was expecting a 3.
The foul's on Feldman underneath. Edmondson's first free throw in off the front of the rim. He's got 3 points. 6-foot senior guard, averaging 8.5 for the Sages. Second one is up and nothing but nylon. Full court heave. That's the guy you want taking that heave. Holt Geltmaker, the Division I baseball arm, but as you saw, well off the mark, and that's the first quarter. Evan Johnson, how about those Monticello Sages? Starting slow, but here they are.
You can really see what they can do when they get out in the transition. This team, they're quick, well, a lot quicker than I thought actually, and they know how to get to the basket. They know how to put the ball in the basket. And obviously, it's paid off for them.
Certainly has, Evan. We take this break to remind you that tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Country Financial, the Campar agency in Chillicothe, Illinois. We thank him for his support of Clutch Sports Media tonight and IVC Athletics always. Call 309-274-8813 for all your insurance and financial advisory needs.
If you're IVC in this second quarter, you really need to come out, make a statement, put a couple, maybe get a 3 or 2, try to cut into that Monticello lead. It's not a big one, but
it'll be IVC. Go ahead, Evan.
I was going to say it could grow at a moment's notice.
It could grow. And especially with this squad, Evan, we mentioned their inexperience. A lot of youngsters on this roster, a lot of sophomores getting playing time, a lot of juniors who played varsity last year. But to my count, just 3 seniors. As you mentioned, IVC the opposite. And out of the quarter break, it's a travel. Rainey dragged the pivot foot.
You know, not the best first possession if you're IVC. You know, you want to really come out of the gate looking to score, cut into that lead, like I said, and unfortunate.
Edmondson into the corner. Back out. Their patience worked out initially. They continue with the same approach here. Rudolph surveying. So we hear the sideline. Good motion, says Kevin Roy. Fox hands off to Edmondson. Gets to the baseline. Tries to cross up Woolard. Bounce pass into the paint. Unselfish play by the Sages. Long possessions. Rudolph. Fox. Now to Edmondson. He'll try the tray, and it's off the mark. Rebound into the hands of Parmalee. Mercer back to Mack. Thought about the pull-up. Bounce pass into the corner. Back to Parmalee. He's going to pull up from deep. Just off the mark. Rebound loose into the hands of Fox. Crescent slows it down.
You know, you see that ball go in the air. If you're a Monticello, you're afraid that's going to go in. He can hit those.
He's got that college range. Parmalee uncommitted. Rudolph into the corner. Back up top to Crescent. Sages continue to draw out their possessions. Fox into the paint. Reverse to the right wing to Fox. Lots of great screens off the ball, Evan, and it's opening up a lot of passing lanes.
I was going to say, you know, this offense is actually impressing me. I don't know why I get that they can score in transition, but at the same time, they look really good here in the half-court set. Really good fundamentals. Like you said, solid screens. People are getting open. They're getting open looks here in the half-court.
Cress up to the wing. Fox is going to drive, and he's denied in the double team. It'll stay on this end. But Evan, on the other side of that coin, as much as Monticello has been passing the ball and putting up good screens, they just haven't gotten the looks.
Yeah, especially right there on that possession. That's the epitome of what just happened. He got a little impatient, drove in, he got blocked.
3 in the corner for Illini. You bet. He's got 10 already. Only player in double figures for either side. Parmalee answers with 2. Now they run the transition. Illini thought about putting the shot up and dribbles all the way back out. Rudolph kicks out, now up top to Cressip. Evan, I'm quite frankly surprised they didn't take that initial first look, because here we see the same game. IVC's defense hasn't really bit. How about Cressip? Somehow finds a lane. His shot is tipped around. Now IVC can run transition. Woolard to the rack for 2.
Finishing with the offhand. That was he corralled that in after, kind of fumbling the pass and got it in the twine.
We're going to take a masked timeout here, Evan, and it comes at the right time for Monticello as IVC is starting to find its footing.
My apologies. I'm also running the score. My apologies that we fell a little behind. A couple exciting minutes of action here, so I kind of got caught up in it. But yes, IVC, both these teams scoring. And both offenses looking pretty good now. IVC looks good in the transition.
You know what else looks good, Evan? The scoreboard.
You got that right. Now it looks really good because the score's right. But you know what I'm going to say? I'm happy I picked Ginalik as my player to watch for Monticello. He is lighting up the scoreboard, taking good shots. Definitely pleasing me.
He has been fun to watch, as has been Cam Woolard, leading IVC with 7 points. We take this mask break to remind you that tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Country Financial. At Country Financial, we offer policies that stand up to life's challenges and protect what you value most. Call the Cam Parr Agency in Chillicothe at 309-274-8813 to protect what matters most to you. Big shout out to Cam Parr and his staff in Chillicothe for helping us out tonight. Monticello basketball out of the media timeout, mass timeout, whatever you want to call it.
We're the media.
Yeah, we are the media, and we take advantage of that media timeout. IVC going with a full court press look. Evan, are you surprised?
No, because, you need those points. You see them get a quick steal on the inbound, and they didn't, and they got burned for it.
And it does not work out. Sprinkle gets on the board with his first points. Into the post for Feldman. Back out. 3-ball Mercer is off. Cressip, the 5'9" guard, pulls down the board amongst the tall trees. Sprinkle hands off. Rudolph down low. Stuffed initially, but Sprinkle scores his second straight bucket. He's up to 4.
And now what you like to see out of the timeout if you're IVC, you need to come out, put a stop to this run.
In case you're just joining us, the Sages fell behind early, 8-0 to the Gray Ghosts, in fact. And since then, it's been all Monticello as you see IVC with another turnover.
A little miscommunication there. Maybe just forgot the play. Who knows? But results in another IVC turnover.
And, Evan, maybe we shouldn't be surprised at this roaring comeback by Monticello, because in their last game at Olympia, they were down at the half. They outscored Olympia 27-7 in the third quarter, and then they held the Spartans scoreless in the fourth. Really remarkable. Cressip, shot off the mark. Parmalee, the rebound.
No, absolutely. With defense like that, it's easier to win games. The defense does the winning for you, and then from there, you just let your offense go through the motions as they have done tonight in the half-court setting. When you can hold down the other team on defense, come down, get an easy bucket, the game's easy.
The game has come easy for these Sages, entering this one at 2-0 with a +22 scoring margin. So they've won both their games pretty handily. Up by 7 here. Wallard finds the open man. Skip pass to Parmalee. Head fake. Inside the arc and back out. Hesitation dribble into the paint contested. Off the mark. Geltmaker is right there. How about that bucket? And one.
He switched his hands in midair. He had the ball in his right hand, kind of flicked up to his left hand and finished the play. Unbelievable.
Geltmaker into the scoring column. My goodness. The University of Illinois baseball commit showing us the good hands. He could be a shortstop, but he's a pitcher for those wondering.
Let's see if he can make it a 4-point deficit for the Gray Ghosts.
Little discussion going on with the officials here. It's going to be a blood timeout. Whenever you see any sort of open wound, that's never what you want. Player on Monticello just below our broadcast booth. So that's a pause in the action. IVC starting to come back, showing a little life, Evan. They've been shaky on the offensive end, but whenever they can get a bucket like that, it's an energizer.
You're absolutely right. You know, it's a game of momentum. It's a game of runs, as we've seen tonight. The Gray Ghosts started out an 8-0 run. Then Monticello bounced right back. You can't just put your head down and say, okay, well, this is it. I mean, look, it's easy to come back when you get back. Stop and a score. I've heard you say this so many times this season. It's a great adage. Stop and a score. That's how easy it is.
Geltmaker's free throw is off. Back into the hands of Parmalee. His 3 is off. Geltmaker gets the board. Hounded on defense and gets the ball ripped away, but it's into the hands of Wallard. But here comes Ben Cressip. To the left block. Floater too short. And now a foul is called on Feldman. Looked like he got all ball there, but maybe a little too much bodily contact. What a sequence that was.
You know, in a play like that, the ref, I feel like a lot of times just sees, oh, well, somewhat contact. It was a quick play. Call the foul. And, you know, that's a good play on the part of Rudolph. Get that contact. Get to the line. To take advantage of that just fast-paced play.
Rudolph, the 6'2 senior forward, has played in both games for the Sages. Little funky free throw delivery here. And he's 0 for 2. Rebound to Wallard, ripping it away from the Sages. A lot of physicality for this young man that we've seen. Spins at the free throw line. Geltmaker, step back at the baseline. That was pure.
Ooh. Reminds me of DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan's the best NBA player who can make that shot, and that is one of the toughest shots in the game. You got nothing to judge off of, you know, the distance. And
especially this year, Evan, do you think the far bleachers being fulled up throws off the depth perception a little bit?
I think that's probably part of it, but at the same time, this is the home team. They're used to playing on this court. Probably helps a little bit they get to practice every day.
A good point. Monticello traveling over an hour and a half to the Spook House. Cressip fouls Wallard on the charge. How about that, Evan? Cressip bowling over the 6'5 Wallard, and Cressip is only 5'9.
I was going to say, not very often you see that call. A lot of times the littler guy gets the call, but a fair play indeed. You know, stand up, put your chest into the offensive player and take that charge.
IVC turns it over, but it's tipped. A bad pass tipped off the hand of a Sage, so it stays with the Gray Ghosts. A 3 could tie it up. Inbounded to Wallard. Trying to find Geltmaker, and he does. He's the hot hand. Kicks it out. Back up top, Parmalee. Lob pass down low is picked off by Rudolph. Ball is loose, and a foul is called. Ward, a little too physical in transition.
You know, to go to a different topic, Wallard. He has really impressed me tonight. He is using his size. He's got broad shoulders. He's a big boy. He can really bang in there and get some points right near the hoop. He's got 7 of them.
Wallard with 7, Geltmaker with 4, Parmalee with 4. Big names for the Gray Ghosts have been relatively quiet. Edmondson going to work on Wallard. Ginelick Nearly has it ripped away, and he is fouled. Will this be on the floor or on the shot? It's on the floor.
You know, maybe I'm so used to watching college basketball, I might have called that on the shot. He certainly was in the motion, or maybe he sold the foul on the way down.
Foul's on Mercer. Ginelick to inbound, tipped around, back into the hands of Ginelick.
Just how they drew it up.
Wide open three for Fox. He got it. That's right, Evan. Sometimes the ball just bounces your way, and it's been bouncing the Sages' way tonight. Parmalee picks up the play from Quinn Morrow on the sideline. IVC needs a bucket before the halftime break.
Desperately need a bucket, and, you know, you got to go, in my opinion, to Parmalee.
Wallard into the post for Mercer. Out to Parmalee is off the mark. Mercer is there. Hook shot off the back of the iron and in. And that is how the half ends as the one-armed heave falls short. Evan, as you mentioned, it was a game of momentum. IVC starting with an 8-0 run, but since Monticello roared back, took the lead, and they've had it since.
And I think it's important to note that, you know, Monticello has really their momentum, or their pace has been varied. Be quick, but don't hurry. Not only in transition, but in the half-court setting. That's another one of my favorite basketball adages. Be quick, but do not hurry. Stay under control. Look for those good shots, but be on the move.
John Wooden, of course. Evan Johnson, our very own John Wooden. We'll take a brief halftime break, come back with some stats and summaries from the first half of action. You're watching Illini Prairie Conference basketball on ClutchSportsIL.com. Welcome back into the Spook House. Just wrapping up halftime between IVC and Monticello in an Illini Prairie Conference basketball matchup. In case you're just joining us, IVC ran out to an 8-0 start, but since it's been all Monticello, and they currently hold the 4-point lead. Before the halftime is over, we wanted to mention tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Country Financial, the Campar agency in Chillicothe. Call 309-274-8813 for all your financial advisory or insurance needs. Monticello basketball to open up the half. Ben Cressup to the right wing to Joey Sprinkle. And Evan, looking in that first half, Edmondson was a little quiet. He's got 3 points, but Cressup was really quiet, averaging 19 points a game in 2 outings so far this year. Just 2 points in the first half.
He was looking to be effective. He took that ball to the hoop, and he fortunately had a charge called on him. He's gotten his hand on a couple balls on the defensive end. You know, he's kind of making it up in the margins, you know.
Sprinkle kicks out, Rudolph, and it's Gillinick. Gillinick was the leading scorer in the first half, but there's the aforementioned Cressup, who has the ball kind of play pinball over the backboard. Eventually falls into the hands of IVC, and they'll have their first possession of the second half.
And if you're IVC, you need to do 2 things. First of all, Mac Parmalee needs to get to the rack. See that ball go in the hoop, and then you can start shooting from beyond the arc. A lot of times it helps to see that ball go in, and then you can extend your range, feel more comfortable. It just helps to see the ball go in the rack. And if you're the other thing, feed Camden Woolard. He has been so effective on the inside against this smaller Monticello team. He's got 7 points right now. He can have a good second half.
Good point you got there, Evan. Undersized Sages squad. Parmalee, Woolard thought about the deep 3. Here he goes into the paint, and it's out off of the Gray Ghost. I think Woolard kind of got away with the travel there. Either that or he was fouled. He's looking for the foul.
And like you said, that's a good no call because it could have been a travel, could have been a foul. Good no call in my opinion.
Officials swallow their whistles there. Not a lot of fouls in the first half. It flew by. Gillinick, the junior guard, up top to Edmondson. Sprinkle thought about the 3. Rudolph, the senior, back to Gillinick, averaging 10.5 per game. He already met that in the first half. Cressup slows it down. And in case you're just joining us for the second half, this is what we've seen all night from this Sages offense. They have not been running the floor. They've been very patient on the offensive end. Sprinkle tries to go inside, and it's ripped away. Geltmaker out in front, and he throws it down.
A nice display of athleticism from Geltmaker.
The Division I athlete. And no, he's not going to the D1 level to play basketball, though when his career is all said and done on the floor here, he might be the all-time leading scorer at Illinois Valley Central. How about that response and the foul?
That
dangerous play. Sprinkle is okay. Hits the boards hard, and they'll head to the line for one more. You know, Evan, he hit the deck hard.
Yeah, rightfully so. I mean, he was pushed pretty hard. That's a scary play. I know you don't want the opposing player to score no gifts, but that's a dangerous play.
It's off the back of the iron. Woolard hauls in the board. Now the Gray Ghosts are going to try to run it. Geltmaker passed that a little bit too hard. Ball's loose. Good hustle from the senior, and he was out on the sideline just below us.
You know, even though it was an incomplete pass, so to say, it was a great look on the inside. Kind of whipped it over his shoulder one-handed. It was a great pass on the money, just a little too hard, like you said.
Edmondson takes it up to the left wing for Sprinkle. Sages looking to build on their lead. Led 13-9 at the end of the first, 23-19 at the half. They work it inside. Rudolph has the ball go right through the 5-hole. Parmalee, good hustle. And IVC comes out with it, but Cressup shows off some hustle of his own. Can he pick up the assist? Almost. And that rolls in. Acrobatic play from Edmondson. Parmalee looking for the response, and he picks up the foul and the bucket.
And that's exactly what Parmalee needed. You know, like I said, he hasn't seen the ball go through the basket much tonight. This could be what he needs to have a great second half.
He's been in double digits in 2 of 3 of the Grey Ghosts games so far, and now the officials are going to discuss here. Not entirely sure what they're going to talk about here. I don't know. Perhaps the mask timeout, and it is indeed the mask timeout. IVC down by 4. That's pretty much been the deficit since the middle of the second quarter, Evan. The Sages have just kept them right where they are.
You know, to rewind a little bit, that last possession before the Mac Parmalee and one, Monticello looking scrappy. You know, pardon me, Cressup getting that steal right, preventing the transition by IVC. Edmondson getting that rebound, resulting in some points. Just a great little, just all that gritty defense. It pays off. It helps you separate from a good IVC team.
IVC looking to avoid the upset loss to Monticello. We take this mask break to remind you that tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Country Financial in Chillicothe. At Country Financial, we know protecting the things you love and preparing for tomorrow starts with simple steps. Get started with your neighborhood representative, Cam Parr, by calling 309-274-8813. Thanks to Mr. Parr and his staff over at Country Financial. Out of the mask timeout, Parmalee to the stripe. Sitting at 6 points, just had 4 in the first half. But it wasn't just him, Evan. Woolard with 7. Geltmaker only had 4 in the first half. Bends at the knees, and his free throw's off the mark. Got to make the free ones, especially in a close game. Sprinkle in the corner, up top to Ginelick. He's led the charge for the Sages. Edmondson looks inside. Back to Ginelick. Sprinkle, the tallest player on the floor for the Sages right now at 6'3". Kicks it out to one of the shorter ones. Cressup at 5'9". Woolard almost jumped the pass. Edmondson works it around the arc. Evan, I wouldn't be shocked if this game stays below 40 points for both sides, and now it's a double dribble as Cressup couldn't keep the dribble.
The downside to holding the ball for so long, looking for a good shot, is that when you make a turnover like that, you just wasted a minute or two, you know, to end with, you know, no shot at the basket. It's just unfortunate if you're the offensive team.
Parmalee, the bounce pass to Woolard. Going to work on Edmondson. Now to Geltmaker. An open Parmalee. Gets to the free throw line and gets the bounce to go off the back of the iron. Cressup with the shifty moves. The underhanded pass to Sprinkle. Right behind him is Rudolph, and he knocks it in. Parmalee looking for the response, and he's called for the charge.
Just a little too out of control there. It's a good call by the ref. You know, maybe a few years ago that's called a block, but, you know.
Parmalee's first foul of the ball game, and Mercer checks out.
I was just listening to the announcer. Wanted to hear what he had to say.
That's why you got to take 1 year of the headphone off. That's what they tell you in announcer school. No such thing, of course. Ginelick sets it up between the rings for the Sages. Kick to the right wing for Sprinkle, back up top. Evan, the offense has been so evenly distributed for Monticello tonight. Ginelick weaves his way through, looks for Sprinkle on the inside, and he's swatted away by Feldman.
Unfortunately, he got one guy with the pump fake, but Feldman did not fall for it and got the block.
Geltmaker off the block. He's blocked but fouled. That call is going to go on Edmondson. That's his second foul. These free throws are big ones for Geltmaker. First is off the mark. And Evan, we talked about it a few moments ago. Free throws always important, but especially so in close games.
Absolutely. These teams are so evenly matched. When you're missing free throws like this, you know, pardon me, when you should be making these free throws, it could pay off in the end, you know. Could result in a losing in upsetting fashion.
IVC comes out with a full court press look, trying to change something up, forcing Monticello to hurry up. Sprinkle in the corner. Now the Sages slow it down. Ginelick. Back to Cressip. What a pass inside, and 2 for Edmondson. He's got 7.
The Sages slicing and dicing the IVC defense.
Can they keep up? Woolard open for the tray, off the mark. Long rebound goes to Ginelick. Ahead to Edmondson, off the glass and in, despite 2 Gray Ghosts behind him. That's 6 straight for Edmondson. Up to 9 points now. Now IVC slows it down as the bench comes to life for the Sages. Gray Ghosts need something. Rainey trying to make it happen. Foul on the floor.
And like you said, Edmondson, 6 straight points for him, which is really vital for this Sages offense when you know your leading scorer for the first half, Ginelick. He's only had 3 points this half, so it's important that, you know, one of those other role players steps up, put some points on the board.
Parmalee the quick pass into Rainey, pull up, floater, short. Feldman the rebound, his try is no good. Woolard gets it back. Back to Rainey. Lots of contact and a charge.
Out of control again, you know. You're trying to get points on the board, but be quick, don't hurry. Like I said before, you got to stay under control, have control of your center of gravity. You can't just go barreling in like that.
Now the Gray Ghosts will try and make Monticello hurry, and they break the full court press. Sprinkle the handoff to Edmondson. He's called for the charge. Lots of good hustle on both sides.
And when you take a charge, you're sacrificing your body for your team. It's a really good look. It lets you know that that person who just sacrificed their body has your back.
Edmondson has 3 fouls now for the Sages. 2-game win streak on the line for both squads. Geltmaker, double teamed in the zone. Gets through contact, first shot no good, can't get a second. Edmondson to the right block, off balance, can't get it to go. Offensive rebound, shot is in for Cressip.
What an impressive rebound by 5'9" Cressip.
Geltmaker looking for the foul, and he gets it. The pace has picked up, but all of a sudden, Evan, that does not favor the Gray Ghosts. Down by 9.
We've been saying all night, Monticello wants to get in transition. So when you're pressing them full court and forcing the pressure on them, they thrive in the transition. You don't want that.
Geltmaker with one hand, he got it. Gray Ghosts desperate for a bucket, and they get it there. Edmondson, baseline with 2 seconds, was looking for a pass, and he had nobody to pass it to. So that'll be the Sages' last possession of this third quarter. I don't know what he was trying to do there, Evan.
I thought he might have been going for like a little up and under, a little
scoop shot.
I think you're.
I don't know.
That's my call, but
now it looks like the officials are going to put some time back on the clock, maybe give Holt Geltmaker a little bit more time to chuck it with his strong arm. And it looks like they're going to call off the third quarter. So that's all the third period rights. And the visitors on top of the Gray Ghosts, 35-28.
That was an exciting third quarter. Definitely flew by, but in a different way than the first half did. You know, the first half was a lot of unadulterated just basketball. But this one, you had a lot of people sacrificing their bodies, as I said earlier, taking some charges, players who didn't score as much in the first half, putting some points on the board in Edmondson for the Sages. And Geltmaker put some more points on the board for the Gray Ghosts. He had that crazy dunk, that little flush with his right hand. It'll be interesting to see what the fourth quarter holds for us.
I'm interested to see, but first we remind you, Financial, we know protecting the things you love and preparing for tomorrow starts with simple steps. You can take one simple step by yourself and call Cam Parr at 309-274-8813 for your insurance and financial advising needs. We're in the Spook House after all. Some ghosts on the floor. Good court decoration. Me and Joey Wright talked about that the other night at Peoria High. Great camera work by Jonathan Michael, but I like their court decoration with the state titles listed on the floor. But Evan, I like this atmosphere. I can only imagine what it would be like in a full house.
Absolutely. You know, the Boo Crew, they're a dedicated fan section, so I can imagine how loud it would be in here right now with them in here.
Shout out to the Boo Crew watching at home. Holt Geltmaker's three, can't get the bounce, and Cressip fights for the board. He needs to pass it away and finds Edmondson, heaves ahead, great ball movement, sprinkle back out. How about a wide open Fox on the flash? The pass is tipped around, and Ginelec can't save it.
While we have a little break here, I want to say I have been impressed by Cressip's ability to rebound. He's so short, but I think he just knows where the ball's going to go. And he puts himself into position to rebound, even though, like you said, he's short amongst the trees down below.
A strong player at 5'9", 160. Geltmaker to Parmalee. Euro step, teardropper, you bet. We've seen that so much from Parmalee.
It's like a little ballet. It's no look pass.
Monticello looking for the quick bucket, and Cressip's teardropper is blocked, but he's going to get 2 shots.
A little bit of a ticky-tack foul there, but not going to complain if you're Monticello.
Foul's going to be on Mercer, his third. And Cressip, who has only scored 4 points tonight after averaging 19 in the first 2 games, can't add to his tally here.
Neither side has really converted that many free throws. We don't have a running tally here, but it just seems like every time someone's at the line, they only go 1 for 2, as Cressip just did, or can't convert on an and one. And those are the points that matter. They're the free ones.
Cressip knocks in the second, though. Number 5 is up to 5 points. And this number 5 is outpacing him with 10. Geltmaker, Parmalee, open for 3. He got it.
That is what you need.
That's his range, Evan. Can't leave him open. And now IVC looking for the steal, and they get it. Geltmaker lays it in. He got up. IVC within 1. Timeout, Monticello.
What a turn of events. He got up. Geltmaker gets up so fast. I've never seen anybody explode like that at this level. It's crazy. He gathered himself and got his head up near the rim.
Officials letting the boys play at midcourt, Evan. I'm surprised that we didn't hear a whistle there.
You're right. Earlier they did swallow the whistles a little bit, and I think the refs are a little more reluctant to call fouls and stuff with these masks. I've noticed that in a couple games that we've been streaming. Some refs, sometimes they can't even blow the whistle. Sometimes we noticed in the Peoria game on Monday night, a ref failed to blow his whistle due to mask difficulties. So,
He put his arm up calling the foul, but nobody saw him.
In the age
There's
of
a reason
COVID,
they have the whistle.
Absolutely. In the age of COVID, I think they're letting him play a little bit more. I think you're right.
Yes, and I don't mind it. It's physical, but at the same time a little less physical. It depends on which coaches you ask. Like Eric Schermerhorn told us at Washington, he said not a lot of teams play defense in masks. You get tired, especially in the second half. Monticello breaks the press. Fox ahead, and he's called for the charge.
That's a tough charge call. Both players are kind of moving. Arguably, the IVC defender is still kind of backing up. He still got in the way of the play and took a good charge, though. It's always tough to take a charge.
5th foul on Monticello. Got to be careful, otherwise they'll put the Gray Ghosts in the bonus, although they have not capitalized at the stripe today. Wahlert to the baseline, reverse, almost got it. And now a charge is called, not on the shot. Mercer bowled over Edmondson, and now it's 5 fouls on both sides. Mercer checks out. That was his 4th. Rainey checks in for him.
But if you're Edmondson, you kind of got bailed out there. You got to box out. You got to find a defender, the nearest guy in white, and box out.
1-point ball game. In case you're just joining us, IVC ran out to an 8-0 lead to start the ball game. The Sages responded by holding the lead since. Ball's tipped out off of Geltmaker, so it stays on this end. Evan, I'm correct there, right?
Pardon?
IVC has trailed since
the 8-0
Sages
run. The 8-0 run, and then they took the
first.
lead. I believe you are correct. And, you know, we've got a good game on our hands here. It's certainly turned into a good one.
Thanks for joining us on your Friday night on ClutchSportsIL.com. Fox kicks it back out, and Ginelick will hold. Oh, so patient the Sages have been all night.
Trying to hold on to that lead.
Chewing a lot of clock here. Edmondson scans. The clock hits 5.5 minutes. Cressip nearly has it tipped away by Parmalee. Cressip certainly at a size disadvantage there. Gets him on the shot fake from 14. Is partially blocked. Ball into the hands of Rainey. Out in front, Parmalee. Off-balance shot is short. Tipped around. Parmalee got it back. And his second attempt is no good. Cressip out across the timeline. He's going to take it all the way off the glass and in.
The southpaw on his strong side gets that crazy shot to go.
Wow, he's up to 7. Geltmaker looking for a response. Somehow he got that shot up. And he'll head to the line for 2.
That was impressive. That's all you can say. It's an athletic play.
And before the free throws, we will once again have a masked timeout. That fouls on Ginelick. And for one more time, we remind you that tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Cam Parr at Country Financial in Chillicothe. Call 309-274-8813 for your financial, business, life, home, auto, insurance, or financial advisory needs. Thanks to Cam Parr and Country Financial for supporting Clutch Sports Media tonight, and thank you for joining us and spending your Friday evening on ClutchSportsIL.com. You've certainly seen a good one. As we've gone over multiple times, a game of runs, and most often those runs have favored Monticello.
You said most often, because this
often.
most recent one has been in IVC's favor. And IVC making the game exciting. Mac Parmalee kind of starting to show his true colors here, coming alive in the second half. Maybe not having a scoring explosion, but he's looking more like the Mac Parmalee we've seen, earlier in the season at Metamora. He's very in control of the ball. He's controlling the pace, like I said earlier. Be quick, don't hurry. He's really controlling the tempo of this IVC team.
And one player who has gone quiet for IVC, not to focus on the negative, but Cam Wahlert had 7 points at the half, and he's still stuck on that number.
Yeah, I'm sure he knows that. I'm sure he's looking to try and get side. He probably wants the ball in there, try to get to the line himself.
Geltmaker heads to the line with 11 points to his name. First free throw tickles the twine. Geltmaker, the 6'2 senior guard, one of the best players of all time in IVC history. Spins the ball, and his second rattles in, making the big shots when it matters most. He's got 13 points. Ball's nearly tipped away, but Monticello breaks the press, and the 3 is true for Cressip.
And that's why that full court press if you're IVC is so risky.
Parmalee through contact, no good. Geltmaker's right there for the finish. Taking over, Geltmaker. Deficit at 2. Cressip was pushed.
I noted on this before, but I'm not sure I like the full court press against this Monticello team. They're so good in transition. We said before the game, that's what they want to focus on. And they've been really patient this entire game, but they can show out in transition. We saw that just a couple seconds ago.
Quinn Morrow has gone with a mix of half-court and full-court defense. And largely, it's helped to slow down this Monticello offense because they've been forced to go into these half-court sets where arguably they're a little less comfortable than they are in transition. Ginelick, teardropper, got it. And that lead burgeons back to 4. Parmalee in a tie-up, gets it back, finds the open man. Extra pass to Woolard at the block. Off the glass, no good. Ward's shot is in. Ward's first 2 points of the night. Now we get the full court press again. Rainey bounce pass ahead. They break the press. Easy 2 for Cressip. Geltmaker, shifty dribbling. Looking for the response. What a pass that was. I'm not sure if that was a shot attempt or a pass, but it was on the money for Brandon Ward, who tips it in for 2.
A quick 4 for Ward when they needed it most.
Yes.
He's in position for those rebounds. If you said that wasn't a pass, he's gotten 2 offensive rebounds and put them right back in the bucket. That's big for the IVC Ghosts.
Either way you look at it, heads up play by either Geltmaker or Ward. Right place, right time. Experienced squads will do that. 2 seniors hooking up there. Deficit down to 2 for IVC. They have trailed for most of this game after taking an 8-0 lead to start.
I wonder, out of this timeout, if Quinn Morrow's going to keep the press on. We've seen the last 2 possessions, they got burned on the press. If the press can pay off, it'll pay off, hopefully, bountifully for the IVC Gray Ghosts. I mean, if you get a turnover, that's a quick bucket. It's a quick chance at a bucket. You can get a layup. But if not, then you see the consequences from the Monticello Sages.
Ginelick working on breaking the press, and Cressip does so. He's going to try the 3 off the mark, tipped out off of the Gray Ghosts.
It's a slight heat check there for Cressip, I think.
A little bit. He's heating up to 9 points after scoring just 2 in the first half. Ginelick heaves into the backcourt for Edmondson, into the hands of Cressip. He runs the show on offense. Ginelick in the corner. Cressip, another tray. Short once again, tipped around. Back into the hands of Edmondson. Weaves through the defense, and he traveled.
That's
could have gone
call.
either way.
That's a tough call.
Could have gone either way.
It's a tough call, my friend.
And it's a big call. A shot here could tie or give IVC the lead. Parmalee to Geltmaker.
Biggest
over to
possession of the
Woolard.
game.
It is. Here the bench for Monticello. Parmalee, he's going to pull up from deep. It's short. Rebound to Cressip. And they're going to take as much time as they want. How about Cam Woolard hustling, trying for the steal. Couldn't quite get it, but great hustle from the senior. And there's that athleticism. Headed to UW Whitewater to play football. Star wide receiver. He's built like a football player, barreling around on the court. Do his Gray Ghosts have enough to stop the Sages once more on defense? The pass zipped to Rudolph. Now to Cressip. Sages are just going to play catch, chew as much time as possible. This is where so many fans want a shot clock, but that's a discussion for another day.
The Sages need a bucket here still, though. I know they're in the lead, but they need to make it a 2-possession game. They have to.
A long possession followed by no make is momentum for IVC, but the 3 is in for Ginelick. 2-possession ball game once again. That's big, 90 seconds to play. Now IVC needs a shot, and they need something quick. Geltmaker, Woolard, open from the corner. Over the backboard.
Hey, Dylan Ginnelich making us here in the booth proud. Our player to watch today, and he has certainly come through, especially here in the clutch. He's put some
great pick, Evan. Great pick. Would have been easy to pick Ben Cressip, who averaged 19 points in the first 2 games for the Sages. Full court press for the Gray Ghost nearly works as Wallard lays his body on the line. Can't quite get it back, but once again, you gotta applaud the hustle.
Yeah, he's laid out here a couple times in the last minute or so, and like you said, you gotta respect it.
Monticello weaves through traffic. Edmondson into the post. He's not going to shoot that quick. IVC should probably think about fouling.
Mm-hmm.
And it's knocked loose. Geltmaker in transition. He throws it down. Timeout. Quinn Morrow and IVC. Hold your hats, folks. We still got a ball game.
You're exactly right, Larry. This game just got a lot more interesting for us and the fans watching at home, and for both the teams here, for everybody. Geltmaker showing off that athleticism again, getting up to throw it down.
IVC has just not been able to claw back into the lead in this one, Evan. Illini Prairie Conference rivalry. These two schools separated by over 100 miles, but still, this has been intense.
Separated by over 100 miles physically, but here, right now in the game, 3 points. That's all that separates these two evenly matched teams. We've seen all night. You said it's been a game of runs. Teams getting momentum, not hanging their heads. You have to just remember, you're in this game until, the final horn. Get back, claw back, like the IVC Grey Ghosts need to do, and win the game.
Alongside Evan Johnson, I'm Larry Larson in with you. Jonathan Michael behind the camera. Matt Harrington working the sidelines and social media on ClutchSportsIL.com tonight. Monticello will inbound, and Ginnelich nearly stepped on the baseline, but they get it in. Pass ahead for Sprinkle, but a foul at half court, and it's a hard foul. Ginnelich hit the deck hard.
And unfortunately, the foul was called because Sprinkle down the floor converted the layup.
The officials are discussing something, whether that's to call this a flagrant, whether to discuss the clock or the shot, I'm not sure. We'll find out in a moment. We've seen a few of these tonight. Let's see if we can hear the explanation. It's going to be a common foul. Nothing more than a foul on Geltmaker, his first of the game, to go with 15 points. So Rainey and McNaught check out. And Mercer checks back in, as does Feldman. The first free throw is nothing but net for Ginnelich.
Make them when they matter most, Larry.
Ginnelich up to 16. Another big one. It's true. 17 for Ginnelich. The junior guard has lit it up. Geltmaker needs a bucket, trots through the lane, and gets the 2. Another timeout for IVC. Quinn Morrow putting in his defensive lineup. The Grey Ghosts back within 3. It's far from over.
Regardless of the outcome tonight, keep your eye on the Clutch Sports Twitter page, Instagram page, because there's basically going to be a Geltmaker highlight reel. He's had so many big plays tonight, athletic plays. He is just doing it all for the IVC Grey Ghosts. He's keeping them in this game, quite frankly.
And that's the beauty of this IVC team. If one guy is off, having an off night, there's another guy to step up. Mac Parmalee started slow. He's picked up in the second half. He's up to 13 points. Cam Wallard had a big first half. Still is at 7 points, all of which were scored in the first half. But it's been Geltmaker that has stepped up. Last year against these Sages, he scored 18 points and a big win for the Grey Ghosts. Now it's a little closer, and he's going to need to top probably his 17 that he has now.
You said earlier, I'd be surprised if this game gets to 40. But looking at the scoreboard now,
what do you know?
What do you know? But still, this game doesn't feel like it's just been an offensive show out. This has been a very
defensive-minded
game. Yeah, absolutely. It's been a nitty-gritty game.
Ginelick scans the floor, looking to trigger it in, and he takes a timeout. Great defense by the Gray Ghosts.
And as we enter another timeout here, it's just Monticello needs to devise a way to inbound that ball just to trigger the play into action, or else IVC is going to get a chance right under their own basket. And if you're the Sages, that's not what you want, especially with all three of those dangerous scorers on the Gray Ghosts. You don't want that right now.
It's a battle between Illini Prairie Conference teams tonight at the Spook House. Boy, has it been a good one. IVC, you could say, coming in as the favorite. Monticello playing its third game of the season. IVC playing its fourth. Both teams 1-0 in conference play, but that will change probably in about 47 seconds of gameplay. But we could have overtime. Who knows? Who knows what's in the cards, Evan? We've seen a lot of things tonight. Ginelick gets it in quickly to Sprinkle, and he gets it right back. And he is pulled by Parmalee. Parmalee just able to catch him before he got away. That's Parmalee's second foul.
And it's good. He has a few fouls to give.
Yes,
especially right now.
That's a guy you want on the floor, shot maker.
Mm-hmm.
Ginelick, the leading scorer for the Sages. He's the guy you want at the stripe for Monticello. He knocks in the first, up to 18. Entering this one, he was just 0 for 1 at the stripe. But it looks like he's been there before. He has been perfect from the stripe tonight. 19 points for him. Geltmaker, a man on a mission. He's fouled.
And they are in the 1-1. So hopefully he has a chance to get 2 here.
Foul is going to be on Sprinkle. His third. Geltmaker goes to the stripe with 17 points. Been looking better at the stripe in the second half. And he can't get the first one to go. Rebound into the hands of Sprinkle. And Parmalee hacks Ginelick.
Ginelick again. If you're IVC, you want the ball to land in anybody else's hands. Just a tough break for the Ghosts. The Gray Ghosts, pardon me.
Perhaps it's just not meant to be tonight. For IVC, Sages have gotten a lot of good bounces. It's the beauty of basketball. And they get another bounce there.
Another good bounce right there. Shooter's roll.
And he doesn't get it there. A little too hard. Parmalee jets ahead. Hesitation to the right block. Swims through the defense for 2. How about that, Evan? I don't know how he got through those 2 defenders. Game's not over yet. IVC deficit is 4. And they're going to need some luck, but it's still possible.
Excellent body control there from Mac Parmalee. That's not an easy shot. He makes it look easy, but it takes a lot of practice, discipline to, be able to control your body, still get the shot up and put it in.
He can score on the inside and he can score on the outside. Tonight, it's been primarily the inside.
I said that earlier, it helps when you watch the ball go in the hoop. It's such, the further you go out, it's an easy premise. Unless you're Steph Curry, the further you go out, the lower percentage shot that is. No matter the player, no matter if you're Steph Curry, no matter if you're Mac Parmalee, anybody. It's easier to make a layup than a three-pointer.
IVC had a tough game from deep last time out, just 1 for 18, and that's kind of carried over into tonight. Ginelick continues to scan the floor, and he burns another timeout. Timeout fest down the stretch here. A closely contested fourth quarter. And Evan, we talked about it earlier, but defense dictated the first 3 quarters. That's changed up here down the stretch.
I'm sorry, could you say that?
Man, he's tuning me out.
I was reading the game notes.
Interesting. Well, I said that it was a defensive-focused contest up until this fourth quarter.
Absolutely. We remarked on that in last time out. But that's what matters most. Both of these teams have shown that they are very offensively capable.
Yes.
So it's important to lock down those people. None of the big scorers for IVC have really exploded tonight. Geltmaker, perhaps an exception. He's really shown out here in the second half. But besides that, you've done a great job of containing Mac Parmalee and, pardon me, Cam Woolard, especially after his good first half. So, yes, very defensively minded.
But sometimes, Evan, it's about who can score even when they're having an off night. Parmalee, you could argue, has had an off night, but he's still got 15. Geltmaker leads with 17. Monticello inbounds, and Edmondson is fouled this time. And if you're the Gray Ghost, you're probably happy that it's not Dylan Ginelick.
Yeah, as you just mentioned, it's nice to see the ball go into the hands of somebody else other than Ginelick. Let's see if Edmondson can earn his day's work at the charity stripe.
He hasn't scored in this fourth quarter. He's at 10 points. First free throw rattles out. The plot thickens with 25 seconds remaining.
Indeed.
Now if he misses the second one, then we really have quite the plot. It's on the way. It's off. Long rebound to Feldman. Geltmaker through traffic. Woolard to the rack. Through contact. In and out. Tipped around. Tip no good. Rebound Monticello and a foul.
You know, that could have been Geltmaker's only points of the half, and it was a big shot. IVC really needed it. Fortunately, it just didn't fall through.
Woolard was right there, almost picking up his first points of the half. But instead, Sprinkle heads to the free throw line. Again, it's not Ginelick. So that's a positive. Sprinkle, the 6'3 junior forward with 6 points. First free throw is no good.
We could still have one. We still do have one.
Still a game here on ClutchSportsIL.com. Sprinkle's second. Doesn't get the shooter's roll. Parmalee out ahead in transition. He's going to go to the rack, and he gets the bucket. 2-point game. The clock continues to run. Ginelick heaves ahead, and a foul is given. This time, it's going to be Rudolph to the stripe with 1.8 seconds left. So IVC needs misses, or at least one, and a miracle, and there's the miss. IVC doesn't have any timeouts remaining, if I'm not mistaken. Rudolph's second is off. The shot at the horn is over the backboard, and Monticello hangs on at the spook house. The Sages come an hour and a half and steal a road victory from the Gray Ghosts.
An hour and a half. I bet that feels really good. They're going to go home. It's probably going to feel a lot shorter of a bus ride when you win than when you lose. Before this game, we knew it was going to be close. We've been talking about it all day. Both of these teams are just so evenly matched, both disciplined, both know how to defend the other team, what strategy they needed to go into the game with. And Monticello just got the best of the IVC Gray Ghosts tonight.
What a game it was, Evan. And to start, if you only watched the first 2-3 minutes of the game, you'd probably be surprised by this final score because IVC just came out to a rip-roaring start, 8-0 run. And since then, Monticello really just never looked back. They put that slow start behind them and eventually came out with a victory.
You know, that problem, they're probably going to look at it in film tomorrow and say, what happened? Where did our momentum stop? How did Monticello get on that horse and ride it to a victory? You know, it's going to be interesting to see. Pardon me, let me start over. Monticello really did, like you said, respond, came out, like I said, never hung their heads, got in the lead and held on to it for the most part. Actually, they never lost the lead, did they, after that? Because we talked about that earlier. Did they ever?
No, I don't believe they did, Evan. I don't believe they did.
Maintaining control. That's another part of it. You cannot just – you have to maintain control of the game. You can't let the opposing team have another run and take it back.
Before we leave you from the Spook House tonight, tomorrow on Clutch Sports Media, a doubleheader in Metamora. First, a girls matchup in the Middle-Illini Conference between Dunlap and the Redbirds. That one's a battle for first place in the Middle-Illini Conference with Morton's loss earlier this week. And then Roanoke Benson travels down Illinois 116. Quick trip for them to take on the Redbirds boys team. We're looking forward to two good ones tomorrow. But for now, here at the Spook House, we thank you for joining us for a great one tonight. So for our entire crew, for Evan Johnson, Matt Harrington on social media and the sidelines, and Jonathan Michael behind the camera, I am Larry Larson saying so long from Chillicothe. Again, the final. Monticello moves to 3-0, defeating IVC 53-51. So long, everybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Can we do anything with